Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is the second half. I'm assuming second half. It might go first. I don't know. Where we're going to be talking about the best of the Xbox One. As a lot of you know, we're moving closer to the time of the Xbox Series X, and all of the new generation consoles are going to come out. So we're going to take this time, as we approach that, to give a brief overview of the Xbox One and all the positives and negatives that happens. My name is Mike.
My name is Nick.
And my name is Travis.
Yeah, and so there's a lot to break down, I think, with the Xbox One, similar to the PS4. A lot of good and a lot of bad that I'm sure we want to talk about. But as always, I think it makes sense to start with the games, similar to how we did with the PlayStation, where I feel like the difference with this one is Microsoft is certainly not known for its first-party games that come out. I remember, Nick, you told me that you and Travis were looking at exclusives, and we're kind of laughing at the list a little bit.
Well, because you can name 100 PlayStation ones, and then we were literally like, look, there's Halo, there's Gears of War. What's this zombie game?
There's Forza, there's an Ori and the Will of the Wisp. You had Ori until Switch came along, same with Cuphead. It's like, the exclusive isn't what drives an Xbox, really, which is fine, but I mean, it's just like, if you're comparing between PS4 and Xbox, it's like, you gotta admit, one definitely has the exclusives, but that's not everything you look at when you're looking at a console.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's the biggest thing that makes talking games for Xbox a little bit harder is, like you said, Xbox is almost supposed to be like the PC of consoles, where it's like, I'm not making a console to make games, I'm making a console for an experience. And so I feel like there really isn't a whole lot of exclusive games for it. Some of the notable ones to mention, as we talked about, there were a couple new Gears of War games that came out for it. Halo 5 came out for it, but as I say these games, none of those games were really captivating to anybody. I feel like no one looked at any Xbox exclusive game and said, this is a must-play game. And so, I think that's interesting to mention. On the flip side of that, I will say I really like playing games on the Xbox. I think as far as third-party games go, I think the Xbox, to me, between this one and PlayStation 4, I find it easier to play third-party games. I feel like Xbox just makes the experience a little bit smoother. I don't know if that's just because the UI feels a little smoother than PlayStation, and I mean like literally smoother, as in like just like PlayStation feels so sharp to me. I feel like there's a little more lag on the UI. I feel like Xbox gives a better experience when you're jumping into a third-party game.
I would agree.
So I don't know, because I don't think I've ever played a game on the PlayStation 4 and then played it on the Xbox. So I can't say which system developed was more fun to play certain games on, but I also feel like it depends on the game. I feel like some games were designed to play better on one versus the other. But I will say the gaming experience on Xbox is a lot of fun. I feel like it's fluid. They know what they're doing with online. And I feel like if you're an Xbox player, you're probably someone that likes drinking Monster and Red Bull and, plays video games with the headset and everything. Like, that's what I imagine when I think of an Xbox user. So
Mountain Dew Kickstart, baby.
Yeah, really though. So it's like, to me, it's like, okay, if you're playing on Xbox, you're probably playing for a good online experience. And I do think Xbox has a better online experience from what I've done with it. I feel like it connects faster, unless you're Matt's, because Matt did not have a good
Unless
situation.
you literally have your Xbox just completely spontaneously combust and for some reason not work now.
Yeah, I don't. It's for Matt will find every problem with everything. It is the funniest thing in the world to me.
His computer is breaking down. Like, what is it with technology with him?
Nothing goes right. Know. It's so funny.
But I do want to point out, I think it was a comment that I think it was Crazy Fish. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but and it's in the Twitch stream when we were talking about Splatoon. One of the things when you're talking about the Xbox games, I really don't think the lack of first party would really, or what they're talking about was, I don't really think the lack of exclusive games really takes away from the console. Obviously, it's going to drive less units, but in a way, I don't think that it would really hurt it as much. Yes, more people will buy PS4 because it has better exclusives, but it doesn't. If anything, it's not a reflection on the console itself at some points. At some points, it might just be better business or other deals being struck up and whatnot, where they're just like, no, we're only going to release this on PlayStation 4 because Sony's paying us a lot more to do it. It's like, I don't think the lack of those games really takes... I agree with them. It's like, I don't think the lack of exclusive games really takes away from the Xbox. So even though we can't talk about how Cuphead was an exclusive before it went over to Switch or whatnot, it's still a cool thing that we can actually look at the other parts of it. Like I do agree, like the PS4 UI, a lot of the UIs that are coming out nowadays are trying to be all tile based, all organized. Like if you see it on your phone or whatnot, everything's a tile that you just can click on and see. I really don't like that for games. I think it's kind of, it doesn't really, it seems too like formal and whatnot. I'd rather like it. I don't know. Ever since like, I think there's only a few consoles that did it right when it comes down to a UI and being able to jump into a game and get excited about it. But I don't know where I'm going with this, honestly. I think what I'm trying to say is that when it comes down to exclusives, yes, Xbox didn't have it, but I don't think that is something that is really should be focused as much on, because of the fact that PlayStation 4 was kind of slower when you're moving between games, when you're trying to get to a menu and whatnot. Like, I remember trying to just boot up my PS4 and go to the settings to stream and whatnot, and having to turn off the HDCP encryption, which I find very frustrating to do for every PS4 game that we stream. And I'm not even sure if Xbox has something like that.
Wait, say that one more time? I didn't hear that last part. It cut out a little bit.
You know how when you're streaming for PS4, you have to turn off the HDCP encryption to make sure that your capture card is being read and it goes through. Does Xbox have that?
No, that's what I mean. I think Xbox is. To me, I usually buy third-party games for the Xbox, just because I feel like it's smoother because of that. I don't have to worry about that. Like, I've never once had any setting issue with the Xbox. Sony is so bizarre with that stuff. The HDCP on the PS4. PS3 was even weirder, where you couldn't use the HDMI outlet on a PS3 to record game footage. It didn't sync.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you had to use the component cable. I don't know why. Like, yeah, Sony is, they don't do things correctly. So I think that is the one thing Microsoft gets right. I think with the hardware, it definitely delivers, I think, an easier experience. Like, if someone was new to a console, I don't know if I'd recommend Xbox. I guess it would depend on the games, but I feel like Xbox is easier to get adjusted to, just because PlayStation has so many little things like that. And there's like a million settings, and a lot of them are really cool, like remote play and share play. But I feel like there's such a big learning curve with PlayStation, whereas Xbox I feel like is a little bit easier to get into.
Yeah, one of the things that I always love when it comes down to, and one of the things that I look at, is how fast you can just jump into a game. I mean, obviously with all these games and how big they are, you have to go through the install times. You have to download the games and whatnot, whatever, update files and whatnot. I always like the feeling, and this is one of the reasons why I will always sing Nintendo's praise when it comes down to it. You can just jump into a game.
Right.
It's so easy to jump into a game. And I do feel like that's something that Xbox has definitely done better. If you're thinking about like the best of what Xbox has put out and whatnot, they made that process more seamless about being able to jump into a game that you want to play than I think Sony did.
Right. And on the topic of games, before we kind of switch over, I think one of the cool things about the Xbox experience is Sony has remote play, which is a lot like Nintendo Switch, where you have stuff on the go. Microsoft doesn't have anything explicitly on the go, I guess, that's like handheld. But what's cool is there's a list of like 50 to 100 Xbox games. Most of them are exclusives that you could play if you bought on your Xbox. You also get it for free on your PC. So, for example, if I bought Gears of War, I would get an Xbox One copy and a PC copy. And I want to say, I could be wrong, the files are linked. So if I play on Xbox One and I pause and save, I can pick up from that save file on my PC, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, so like, if I have to go on a plane flight, similar to Switch and remote play, I can stop playing on my Xbox and then pick up right there from the PC. So I thought that was kind of a cool feature that they had.
Oh, yeah.
So with that being said, I think we can probably switch over to something else that we all kind of know a little bit about, or at least I'm sure you did a little bit of research, Nick, and that is the Xbox Game Pass experience. We talked a lot about PlayStation Now, which I think is a fantastic service, but we mentioned a couple of the issues that it had, particularly with streaming. You have to stream games live. I think what's cool about Xbox Game Pass and what me and Matt have really, really grown accustomed and really enjoyed is that you don't have to do that. You can download the game and play it just fine. The other really cool thing I like about it is that there's a reward system with it, and I am such a sucker for reward systems. So what's cool is like, there are a bunch of Game Pass games that I never in a million years would have thought about playing, but every month Game Pass gives like reward points that you can get for playing a certain game or accomplishing certain things. So it might say, get 5 achievements across any of the new Game Pass games. And if you do that, you get a certain amount of bonus points, and then you can actually redeem it for like actual prizes. You can get like free money for the Xbox store. You can get like Amazon gift cards, pretty much just for playing the games, which I think is kind of neat. It is a paid experience, but I do think it's cool that it incentivizes you to try games that you otherwise wouldn't. So I think that's kind of nice, because a lot of the games on there are like, why would anyone want to play it? But it gives you a reason to play it, which I think is cool.
One of the things that I thought was so cool about it is with that Game Pass, it incorporates so well into what Microsoft has been pushing so far with the achievement system and whatnot. And I know that Sony has their own trophy system that they have, but like the achievement hunting that people do and whatnot, I think that just works so well with Game Pass. And first of all, like this is like the gold standard in my mind. If you want to actually have like a service that people want to play for, you give them the service, they pay a certain amount a month, but then you give them access to this huge library of games. It's like the Netflix of games. And I think that's what they have to do. That's what Stadia definitely has to do if it wants to maintain its relevancy, because you're paying every so often, but at the same time, you're accessing like seemingly unlimited games that you can play, and you can get your achievement score up and whatnot, and you're constantly, as Mike was saying, you're constantly trying new things. And all of this is like working in tandem with each other. For me, it's just like, for an example, like when I played Valkyria Chronicles Remastered for PlayStation 4. Great game. Fantastic game. I beat it. I went back and I looked at the trophy system and I was like, it seemed like I barely even beat it based on how many trophies I actually got from the game. But for like, I feel like with Xbox, you don't really focus on that. Yeah, you have your like achievement score, like some points out of however many points are available in the game. But like, I think that there's so much more of a focus that you look at like the percentage when it comes down to PlayStation, rather than just like playing it and just having fun unlocking or getting the achievements when you're going for Xbox. I think there's like a little bit different of an approach. Maybe this seems kind of disjointed, but I feel like it's just more incorporated well with the Game Pass and with the Xbox achievement hunting or achievement score.
Yeah, no, like Game Pass does a great job of just like fitting right in. Like I said, I feel like PS Now, I don't like PS Now, and I wish I did, because it was the first one I tried. But yeah, it feels like it was just kind of, oh yeah, we're going to do this now, so here's this feature. Where I do feel like Game Pass was a lot more integrated into what Xbox was trying to do. And it fits the overall theme, I think, with Xbox, which I think is a good place to lead the conversation, which is it's a social console. I think PlayStation is a lot less social, and that could be a good thing and a bad thing depending on who you talk to. For me, it's my least favorite thing about the Xbox One, and that is it is overly social. But I think it works for the Game Pass, where, like we talked about, it gives you incentives, it allows you to connect with people, it does a lot of that, which I think is really cool. And it's just, at the end of the day, Game Pass is easy to use. It's like there's one link and you click on it, and it opens up a ton of games, and you pick the one you want, and it downloads it, and then you play it, and that's it. It works nice. It's no different than playing a normal game on Xbox, which I think is why it stood out to me and why I liked it so much.
If anything like that has come to Switch or PlayStation in that vein, and I know PS4 had PS Now, which is similar, but if you have something like Xbox Game Pass, I think that would, I know for a fact I would jump on the opportunity, because especially if there's a lot of solid games that are going there, and that's some of the differences that you can see between like a PlayStation Plus thing, where they're giving you 2 games a month if you want them, but like they are linked to your PlayStation Plus account. I don't think that if you stop paying for, I think the way that it goes is that, like, for example, the Nathan Drake collection came out, and came out for free, but just for the whole quarantine situation, the whole COVID-19. And the Nathan Drake collection came out previously for PlayStation Plus, but it's different with the license that you have when you download it, if it was for PlayStation Plus or for the quarantine thing. Because if you have it for the quarantine, you can play it whenever. But if you have it for PlayStation Plus, it's just like, again, when we were talking about this added level of just difficulty, that it's just more confusing to follow, where if you have it for PlayStation Plus, you can only play it if you have PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
So they're recommending that if you had the Nathan Drake collection for PS Plus, delete that version and take the one that you can play whenever. So if your subscription runs out or whatnot, you won't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
So I think Xbox is ahead of the game when it comes down to Game Pass, and I really hope that Nintendo and Sony adopt something similar, because my God, I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and I will say the last good thing about Xbox One in that regard is the games are awesome for it. If you buy it, you pretty much get like the new Dead Rising game. Every single Halo game is on it. Every single Gears of War game. There's a couple Fallout games. Every single Fable game is on it. Grand Theft
shit.
Auto 5 is free on it. They have like Halo Wars 2, Halo Wars, Halo Spartan Assault. There's a couple Jackbox games on it. All of the Life is Strange games, all the Mass Effects. Like, they put so much stuff onto Game Pass that, like, I was telling, like, Matt, because at first he was conflicted, and I was like, you need to buy this. Like, a couple more, like, I see Monster Hunter World, I see Minecraft, Nier Automata is on it, Outer Worlds is on it, Overcooked is on it. Like, there's so many really good games on it that, like, it's totally worth the money. I think, like, this above all, I think, is the coolest thing about Xbox, because it's not just free games, it's literally the best free games that came out this generation. It almost blows my mind that some of these games are on here. I'm like, I feel like they would make more money selling it normally, but I think that's what's cool about it. So I pay this, and it doesn't faze me at all, because like, these are all hits, and I think that's what separates it. Also, is PS Now doesn't have a lot of the modern hits on it. You know, they have a lot more random games or older classics, but they don't have a lot of like the new latest games, and I think that's what makes Game Pass, in my opinion, a little bit higher up on that scale.
I would say so as well.
Yeah. So the next thing I think I kind of wanted to talk about is, as I mentioned, the social aspect. And I think this is kind of a good debate and talking point for all of us. If you look at the Xbox experience and you compare to the PlayStation experience, you know, as I go down my user interface, and I know that's something we wanted to talk about a little bit too, and these kind of go hand in hand, Xbox has a huge emphasis on community. So if, as I scroll down, I have games that I play, if I open up the Minecraft tab, it opens up different pictures that show me what other people are doing. So it might show me a stream. It might show me, sometimes it shows tweets. It might show achievements that my friends got, things like that. But it's more social. So it shows me less of like information about the game, and it shows a lot of just like what other people are doing. And Mixer is so heavily integrated into this. Pretty much every game will link you to like, oh, check out this person on Mixer. Check out, you can stream this game here. I feel like there's such a bigger focus on socializing and building communities, which I think works nicely, except for the fact that it doesn't. If you are not a celebrity, no one's going to give two craps. Like with the communities, if you they have this thing called clubs where you can like start a club about a game, but no one's going to join your club. No one gives a crap who you are. So you can find clubs that are like fan clubs and find people to play with, which is fun. But so it's fun to be involved, but it's kind of hard to like start up and initiate things, which I think kind of messes up the thing a little bit. It feels a little too PC because of that. I feel like it's less of a gaming experience and more of like a social experience at times.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was going to mention that you were mentioning, that what you said about when Mixer was heavily incorporated with it as well. Like, I've tried going on Mixer and trying to see it, and like I know that we can make the same parallel with Twitch and PlayStation. Like, they're also seemingly very integrated. I think Mixer still has a ways to go when it comes down to as a streaming platform. Because just trying to use it, trying to find people, trying just to find channels. Maybe it's because I've been on Twitch longer. It seems a little harder to use, and it also seems to be slower in a way. Like, when I'm watching Twitch streams and whatnot, like I can do it Wi-Fi and whatnot, and I won't really have slowdown on my computer and whatnot. Like for Mixer, if I wanted to keep the stream dedicated, like I had one Chrome tab open and I had nothing else open on my computer for it to be going through smoothly. I think that maybe the application's better, I'm not sure, but I think Mixer still has a ways to go to develop to become, again, more of a rival to Twitch. But no, I would agree with the way that like maybe it's starting to become more of a blend, because it seems like, especially because Microsoft has a lot of PC stuff, whatnot, it seems to be they want to try to bridge that gap between people who would be playing on PC and whatnot. And I think that's the difference when it comes down to when it comes down to this console, for sure, where it's kind of acting as a bridge, where like you can either like open up your laptop or whatnot, or put on your PC, or use the console or whatnot, but the console's cheaper. So I like the fact that it's doing it, but I agree, it does kind of take away the emphasis on just playing a game in that case.
Right, and they literally shove Mixer down your throat on this console. Like it's one of like the main tabs now, which I think kind of annoys me. So like if I scroll down my tabs, right, like it starts with home and then goes to Game Pass and then goes to Store and then goes to Mixer. So it's like it's trying its best to like shove Mixer in your face, which is fine if you are someone that streams on Mixer. I am not. I don't think I've ever used this app on here. I did download it, but I think it's because it was like highly recommended to me to download it. And now it's just like square in my face constantly, which I don't totally like. And that's the other thing too that I alluded to, which is the UI. Just like even doing this, it's just, I don't see anything about games to play. As I scroll down the UI, there's a community tab, a Mixer tab, a club tab, and then there's a couple games that I think if I click, it'll load the game. But it's mostly just showing me what my friends are doing in the game. So it's like, it's almost as if they're not trying to show me, oh, you should play this game. It's more that they're trying to show me, look at what other people are doing. Comment on their stuff and like and support them, you know? And it feels like it's less of a gaming experience and more of a social experience. And I think that's like what you were saying, where it's almost as if they're just trying to link like the PC thing and collaborate it, as opposed to just being like a gaming console, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, like, there's like every console to an extent is kind of going in that route, where it's kind of acting as like a home entertainment system and whatnot. And it's been doing this for a while, where you can watch Netflix, you can watch Twitch, you can watch Disney Plus, you can watch ESPN. Like, yeah, it's there. It's there and it's moving in that direction. I don't know if there's, to me personally, like, if I'm going to do that, there's nothing that's stopping me from just plugging my computer in with an HDMI cable if I really want to watch something on my computer, though. Like, for me, like, I definitely play, I use the system to play the games that are on the system. Maybe they're doing it to try to get other people that aren't just people who play games or whatnot. Maybe they wanted to, like, expand their nets to try to reach other fish. I don't know, trying to be poetic. Didn't really work. But yeah, it's like you can do all that, but I feel like all the necessary stuff, like, I don't really care to have Twitter or Facebook incorporated into a gaming system.
Exactly.
I want to play the games. I want to be able to play the games with my friends with a stable internet connection, and I want to be able to have fun games to play. Maybe that's like the most base things when it comes to a game console, but as long as it does that, I'm usually pretty happy about it. All the other stuff is extra that I am happy about, and I'd be loving to try out, but I mean, I'm not going on Twitter from a console. I'm sorry. I don't care to do so.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. And I think that's what separates these consoles is, like, for PlayStation, I mean, our video was like 40, 50 minutes talking about all these different features. I feel like with Xbox, I'm almost out of stuff to talk about with it. I feel like the thing with Xbox is it has Game Pass, which is cool, and it has good third-party games. But outside of that, it just tried to be social. It didn't, like, integrate these really cool features where you can play from your phone and you can share the screen with your friend. It has that stuff kind of, but it's all done through Mixer. So I can share my screen, but I have to do it on a broadcast via Mixer. I can't just share it. So I feel like Xbox didn't do much beyond that. It's just it has social stuff and it has games, and that's really it. It kept it simple, which is good in a way. I think that's partially why it feels smoother to me. But then on the flip side of that, like, there's so many mind-blowing features that Sony has that Xbox doesn't have. I feel like it would be cool if Microsoft had more things like that. Fortunately,
I think I think that if anything, I think Sony was definitely shooting for the gamer, and Microsoft was definitely shooting for the common folk.
Yeah.
If anything, and I maybe it's because I'm not sure if this still is a feature or like a thing that's for the Xbox One. Do you know? Because I remember there's a lot of backlash. I think when Xbox One originally came out about it always being online. Is that still the case?
No, you don't have to always be online. I do remember that, and it was weird. But no, that is not the case, which would have been annoying because that was one of my biggest things with the streaming service is what if your internet goes down? So they definitely did away with that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was still a thing, and I was also wondering. I remember the other thing that people were making an uproar about. I don't know, kind of like following the drama when it comes down to it. It's kind of funny. But when you're sharing games, wasn't Xbox something weird about sharing games? I couldn't remember.
Yes, and I'm struggling to remember it too. They did something like I don't remember.
Something about sharing games with friends, I know, caused people to be in an uproar or whatnot, and I just wasn't sure if it was still an issue or if Microsoft backed down because of it, because I remember there was like a video Sony that pointed out where it's just like how to share games with your friends, and like they just handed the disc or like they handed the case to the other person, they just like shook hands. Like, it was a really funny response, but like I just remember that there's some kind of uproar about it, and there's like I don't want to like completely talk about some like the downfalls of PS4. Like both consoles done some pretty stupid stuff when it comes down to it. And like maybe it's just oversights when and they fixed it later on. But I just wasn't sure if like those issues were still prevalent, because I know it did cause some people being upset in the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know much about that because admittedly a lot of my friends are PS4 users, so I didn't have anyone to really share the games with. By the time Matt got one, it was like Matt had his library, so he didn't want to share games with me because he had his public library that gave him a bunch of free games anyway.
Oh, yeah, he had a sweet deal with that library. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then when Game Pass started up, it's like, well, who cares? Every game I play for Xbox now comes from Game Pass. So it's like, if you want it, just get Game Pass. But yeah, so I don't know. It's like Xbox it's great, and I love it, and I think it does a great job. But it's just, it's simple compared to the PlayStation. You know, I feel like it kept things simple, which is good in some ways. I think it made it smoother, and it makes a little more sense to me, and I think the UI loads quicker and runs quicker. But on the other side, there's a lot of features that they don't have. And I feel like it's play games and then chat with your friends about the games. And if you're not interested in being social, like you said about like Twitter and stuff, like then half of Xbox features are completely useless to you.
Yeah. And I do want to also commend them on the redesign. The first model when it came down to the Xbox was a beefy mofo. Like seriously, it was thick. But like the redesign, I just want to say the redesign was slick. I just want to give them props for that one, because that redesign made me want to get an Xbox One S, and I was just like, I don't know what games I would play. Yeah, no, that's true. I think it did look a lot better. They're great at making consoles. The consoles they make are absolutely amazing. They just there's just a lot of things that it's for a different type of gamer, like you said. You know, I think if you like PC, you should get an Xbox, because I think they link so well together. But, you know, if you're going for, like, a pure gaming experience, like, Xbox One didn't really offer that as much. Xbox was, like, if you're interested in, like, boosting your mixer career while playing video games, in which case you're going to love Xbox One, if you want to tweet and share everything. And the achievements are fun. I think the achievement system makes so much more sense than the trophy system. The trophy system pisses me off. The achievement system is a lot of fun. It does. But, yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I've pretty much said everything that I feel like is important about the Xbox One. I love it, and I play it a lot less now that I feel like most of my friends are in the PlayStation circle, but I still go back to it time and again when I want to play like some games that I know none of my friends are ever going to play, just because I like the experience on Xbox. I like the way it plays games and it runs games. I'm not a fan of the social side of it, because I'm just not a social gamer. Which is weird considering we have a YouTube and Twitch thing. But so I feel like there's a lot of features I don't use. But if you're into that, Xbox is great. And I feel like I guess it should keep doing that, because that's what makes Xbox unique. But I don't know. I think it's a good console. And I'm excited to see. Hopefully Game Pass stays. And when they get Xbox Series, that stays. And hopefully, I guess they find some games that maybe boost their exclusives. I don't know if that's even on Microsoft's minds. But I feel like they are making an effort on that. If you saw all the studios that they've been buying, I think that they are focusing more on that. And I'm hoping for the first year that they're going to have some good ones. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But overall, I think Xbox is doing fine. It's just a different kind of gaming experience is all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know the focusing on social stuff makes it so whenever I am like when Cody had his Xbox One, and I'm like, okay, I want to watch a Blu-ray, so I'm going to use it. Cody, where the frick do I go to select the movie I just put in? What am I looking at right now? Is this Netflix? Why did that open up? And he's like, no, you're an idiot. You just have to scroll to the left. Why wouldn't it just play it?
Go to the hidden menu, Travis. Come on, it's so obvious.
Yeah, so I'm like, it literally does want you to social everything, including movies. And this is crazy.
Yeah. Tweet about the movie that you're watching on your Xbox One. Why? What's the point?
Hey man, I want to go on Mixer. I want to know how many people are streaming Kung Fu Panda.
That's what the encryption is there for, Travis. They don't want you to do that.
Oh God.
That's it for me though, man.
Yeah. All right. So just like with the PlayStation video, if you have any thoughts about this, any games that you thought were memorable or any fun gaming experiences you had with the Xbox One, or if there's any cool features that I don't know about, like with PlayStation apparently, that you would like to share, and maybe, I could look into that and maybe it'll change my tune about this being just a social console. But yeah, let us know what your experience is with it and how you feel about it. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios.
Bye.
Bye.